Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. This is the weekend golf update for the Players Championship. I am your host, Adam Bapty, and as always, I'm joined by my brothers, Craig.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And Kevin.
Hey, guys.
So we had a pretty epic weekend at TPC Sawgrass. Craig, do you want to give us a little recap?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick here, but there's a lot that happened, man. So Sergio Garcia, Thursday, second tournament in a row, he's come out on fire, went low in round one. Some of the biggest stars in the game, however, went the other direction. We got Rory falling off, we had Xander falling off, we had Finau falling off. Yeah. Friday, cut day, was tough on the top of the field. All three of those guys missed the cut. Victor Hovland missed the cut.
Right.
Thanks, Mom. Patrick Cantlay missed the cut. Webb Simpson missed the cut. One big name, Justin Thomas, was outside the cut line, 27 holes into his tournament. Fortunately, spoiler alert, this may be relevant in the future, but he shot a 33 on the back nine to secure his stay for the weekend. But meanwhile, for the second week in a row, Lee Westwood worked his way to the top of the leaderboard. And moving day, Lee Westwood kept working his way up there. But JT surged. He shot a 64, 8 under 64 on Saturday. Really just it did not seem like he was in contention at that point. To really make his way into the tournament for the first time. And Bryson Dechambeau worked his way into the final group. Second week in a row, Lee Westwood and Bryson Dechambeau are in the last group on Sunday. But really, today, both of those two stumbled. We saw, the ugliness on, I think it was hole 4, really encapsulates it best. But yeah. Justin Thomas, he was 5 under in his last 10 holes. No one else was really putting up that much noise. So it was his tournament. He shot 132 on the weekend to get it done. So question for you guys. If you were playing TPC Sawgrass, do you think you could beat 132 in one? No, I'm just kidding. That's not the actual question.
Okay.
JT, 132, Saturday, Sunday. Do you know who would have been second on the weekend? And how far back were they? Kev, let's go to you.
I'm thinking Talor Gooch and maybe...
What do you mean and? Oh, okay. How far back? Sorry.
How far back? What do you mean how far back?
I forgot there was a part
weekend.
B.
Just the weekend score.
Maybe 135 on the weekend.
So Gooch was 138. He was 6 back, but he was not the closest. Adam, who you got?
I didn't look it up, I promise. I'm going to go Daniel Berger. I feel pretty good about this.
Berger was my initial thought too, but he was also 138. It was actually Victor Perez.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he was 136, 4 strokes. JT was 4 strokes clear of anyone else on the weekend.
4 strokes clear of the field. Wow. 70-some guys. Wow.
And then there was a couple guys. It was Perez at 36, and then Casey, Cam Smith, Lowry, and CH3, Charles Howell III, nice. We're all at 137.
Making a paycheck.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, so let's talk about JT. The JT run on both days was incredible. He actually, the start of the day didn't seem like he was quite in the mix. There needed to be a couple things to happen. But I think the Eagle was it a 9, right? It must have been 9.
No,
the Eagle 9 catapulted him, I think, 1 clear of Westwood at that time.
No, it wasn't on 9. It
was 11.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
He was his. He had birdied 9, birdied 10, eagled 11.
Yeah.
Right. And then the drivable par 12 right after that.
Drivable par 4 or 12.
During that stretch was when DeChambeau and Westwood played the 8th hole where they both made a mess of it and bogeyed. So yeah, the lead kind of was coming back to JT as he was surging, making those birdies and eagles. So, yeah, that was
and the thing
let me just get it out there in the open early here. JT was my fade pick this week, and I have to say,
that grenade
through 27 holes. I mean, that's kind of why I thought he might be a decent fade. He hasn't been playing his best as of late, but I'm so pumped. I'm a JT fan, and so I'm happy he seems to have found it, and huge win for him. Like huge win. A player's championship victory combined with a major and a handful of other wins is often enough to get guys into the Hall of Fame.
It's a career, yeah.
And a FedEx Cup win and a WGC, which I know is kind of like cherry picking a few things, but that's 4 pretty big hype events to.
I think the thing. So Adam actually had JT as his top pick on our DFS show.
Hey,
so we got the fade, we got the pick, but the one thing that I brought up is like the cautionary tale, and the reason that I played him week long just because I think the upside in DFS especially, but the cautionary tale with him is his driving accuracy, and that was I think the reason that it's not a bad fade is because this course just punishes you.
Yeah.
But on the weekend, hit 10 of 14 on Saturday and then 12 of 14 today. So he was just
it looked really good, and like the type of drives were amazing. That little hooking thing on 16 there, the par 5 had to carry about 250 yards and rolled out another 60. Like all his
18 was a little more left than he wanted.
18 was crazy. Was it his 5 wood that he starts like at the pine straw and curls it with the hole? Like that's bonkers.
But best part
let's
about
face
it,
he did not want it that far left there.
Oh no,
he overcooked that for sure.
Did you see the post haste club twirl?
Club twirl. Yeah. That was awesome.
But and I think he got a favorable kick on that fairway too.
Oh, for sure.
He kicked straight instead of kicking like.
Yeah.
I think it was just the way it was a little bit of an upslope he hit on, and so it kind of hit it up and then like killed a lot of its left momentum. But the thing, he didn't putt well today. Like, I mean, obviously there was the 3 putt. I'd have to pull up what hole it was. But then late he had a 3 putt.
Oh, 14. It was the toughest hole
on the course. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
hit a great leg and then missed a 2 foot 11-inch putt there.
Yeah, which oftentimes, I mean, really, the field came back to him a little bit. Like, if you were to, at the start of the day, I did not think 14 would win it. I mean, he did what he had to do, but it really was Lee Westwood's tournament to win at the start of the day.
I mean, if you think about it, Lee Westwood only had to go 1 under to be in a playoff with JT. Like, of course, you have no idea that's the case when you tee off on Sunday, but ultimately that's what he needed.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit shocking to me that late Lee Westwood was still as close as he was, because it seemed like all day he was not in the right spot.
Agreed.
No, but making his putts,
didn't take advantage of 16. And
16 was a mess.
Well, 16 was kind of 16 was kind of the end of it for him. But even just on the I think he made a birdie. He birdied 14 to tie. I think at that time at 13 under. I think.
Yeah, I think
that's
right.
It was almost shocking that he had got himself to 13 just because it seemed like he was making a mess of every hole. But
but a lot of those holes he was making a mess of, like, he just wasn't taking advantage of the scoring hole. So it feels like you're making a mess. I mean, some of them he was making a mess of, but like par on 11, par on 12, like those are birdie holes, you know? So
9, 10, 11, 12 was where you had to make your move. Like we saw that from the early guys out, Morikawa, like those type of guys, they made their moves at that spot.
But how about, but how about, so we did end up shooting an even par round. Mm-hmm. And how about just a stone cold putt on 18 for about 500 grand there?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's one of those things where like obviously that putt is not 500 grand. It's the 275 shots that you take, but whether that putt falls or not is 500 grand.
On that green with him and Bryson, they were having a putt off for 500 grand.
Yeah, that's wild to think about.
And Bryson had to cut a lot of that hole too.
So on that note, actually, and this is a bit of a tangent from talking about the leaderboard, but I think it's such a failure of golf and like golf broadcasting to not lean into that, because there's no other sport, like, win or lose the Super Bowl. Yeah, there's like tiny little bonuses involved.
Yeah,
like all of these other sports, you're not like whether or not you take home hundreds of thousands of dollars more relies on that. And that's like the drama of the moment for those guys. Like you're telling me that Bryson and Lee Westwood, like just because they can't win anymore, do you think they don't care? Like sports are interesting when the people doing it care about what happens. And so like articulating why this matters is something, I think it's because it's like so much money that it's almost embarrassing to talk about this being that much money that's on the line, but you
don't think Victor Perez was thinking about that?
Well, exactly. Like, or Talor Gooch. Like Gooch made, I think $500,000. Like it's almost like it's not.
It's taboo to talk about.
It's taboo.
Money,
it's not. It's not culture. I'm trying to find the word, but it's just it's uncouth maybe to talk about how much money these guys are playing for and how much that matters, but. I say lean into it and explain why it is that what Talor Gooch is in his late 20s, I want to say. Like, this is huge life-changing money to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's way better than getting an update of like moving up in the FedEx Cup rankings to 7th from 55th. Yay!
They're talking sometimes like, oh, like I'm surprised he didn't go at it there because like all they care about is the legacy of the win. Well, like. No, like he didn't go at that there because this pin on 17 is tucked into this tiny little spot where you've got like a 1 yard box to land it in. And if he misses it, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars out his pocket, Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of hundreds of thousands of dollars, you see the video of Jimmy,
the
JT's caddy?
No, I didn't. What did he do?
No, I missed this.
So I guess I think Shane Bacon posted it on his Twitter, but as they're walking out of the scoring area,
right,
he kind of doubles back and takes a look at
I did see that live. I saw it on the
so
he double backs and looks at the money list, the prize money. And then you just see him like go, ooh.
That's amazing. I love
Probably
that.
doing a quick calculation of percentages.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's that's life-changing money for me too.
Oh yeah.
But Lee Westwood, I mean, to me, Lee is a bit of a story of like a very successful weekend, but also a bit of a disappointment.
Sorry, one last thought on Justin Thomas. He's just one of those guys that when he's at the top of his game, like his very best game, I don't think there's many others when they're at their best game that can really beat him. And it's really fun to watch. And
there's only so many guys you can say that about though, because I feel
DJ
like
Rahm, it's a handful.
It's Rory, DJ, Rahm,
Rory, DJ
JT.
To me are the top dogs.
I think Bryson, you might have to put Bryson in that category.
Yeah, Bryson's up there now too.
Yeah,
Xander's out. Bryson's in.
Xander's out. we haven't seen the A1 game from Xander lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go that far. I'll give you DJ and Rory at the top because I still think their A game is better than anyone else's A game. And then there's a tier. We haven't seen Rahm dominate like we've seen those guys dominate. Wait, you're telling me two guys with 20 plus PGA Tour wins?
I agree with you, Craig. Rahm finished or started the day one shot back of JT.
Like this was a tournament Rahm should have won.
Yeah, or at least made a run at it.
This is how many wins he has per year from 2017 to present. So 3 in 2017, 3 in 2018, 3 in 2019, 2 in 2020. There was a pandemic. There's fewer events, so he only got 2. But he's averaging 3 a year. Like that's.
But really, we're just talking about with his A game. Yeah. Is he in the DJ Rory? And to me, like he hasn't won a major.
He won the BMW, but that was more of a grind where he made some bombs against DJ at the end.
I want to say he has a WGC, doesn't he?
No, he's second at WGC match play. He's got the Memorial last year was a big win. He's got a couple couple in
Memorial
Dubai.
Was a big one.
So we're talking about guys like literally Rory has lapped the field at major. So we're splitting hairs. It's like, are we putting Rahm in the Rory DJ tier just with their A games? I think Rahm shows up with his game a lot more as well. But I think we're talking A game. I'm putting DJ Rory on a tier above everyone else right now. Well, and then Rahm, JT, Bryson, Xander, they're kind of in that next.
No, see, I think JT and Bryson are there. I think if anything, Rahm might be a tier below right now, but I think Rahm and DeChambeau JT and DeChambeau when they're on their A game, they're right there. We haven't seen it from Rory enough.
Yeah, I don't know why Rory's is an automatic 1A right now.
Because Rory's done it at least recently enough.
But I also feel like we're not talking about how often they show up with their A game. We're talking about when they're like Rory, when he shows up with his A game, is on another planet. I think that DJ.
I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
We saw
on
that
this.
A game.
Probably early last year.
2014? No, I'm just kidding.
Like, what did he? How many wins did he have in 29? Like he went. Anyways, we don't need to dig too far into this. JT, yes, I hope this is a form turning win. Like, I hope this isn't just like he had a great couple days and he kind of, continues to struggle. I mean, so some of JT's problems over the last couple of months have been self-inflicted and some have just been life happening. But it's nice to see a guy who has had to go, struggle through things in life, get this kind of cathartic win. But I just hope that this is a bit of a form turning win for him.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Speaking of some of those things in life, did you see his post-round interview there? And then they asked him about his grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it look like afterwards he was angry that they asked him that question?
No,
it was a sarcastic.
He started smiling after. If you switch quickly, it looked like he was angry, but then he's like, "Come on, man! Like, why did you do that to me?"
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you could see what I thought was very genuine emotion as soon as he brought up his grandfather. That like
before he even spoke, you could tell that he was going to have a tough time answering the question.
And it actually choked me up a little bit too.
Me too.
Just seeing that somebody genuinely showing that emotion and caring so much can't help but choke you up a little bit, I think.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like, there's so many people that will say what they want about athletes showing emotion. I love it. Like, to me, it just makes it so much more entertaining when it means so much to these guys.
Yeah. And for somebody who, you can have whatever feelings you want about them as a player and watching them as a fan, to see that their family legitimately is very, very important to them is, to me, is touching and humanizes them a lot more and makes them a lot easier to cheer for.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was my fault. I went back to JT when Craig was trying to move on to Lee Westwood. Let's go to Lee Westwood. Let's talk about the final pairing, Westwood and Bryson.
Now, first, do you know that Lee Westwood's caddy is his fiance?
Oh, that is brand new information.
And I make fun just because it's brought up every time he's on camera, but it is super cute.
I love it. Like, it clearly he's in a great space on the golf course. He's laughing. She's laughing. Like that one shot he had out of the bunker where it hit the green and came back. Might have been around 13, 14, around there. I'm not exactly sure. She was laughing. She's like, "Oh, come on. You got to be kidding me." Like, she was commenting. You could hear the mic pick that up. The putt on 17 on Saturday, great relationship. I think it keeps him in a good space. But did you guys know that apparently she is not his caddy for the upcoming Masters?
Really? I did not know that.
Apparently it's going to be his son who he's playing with tomorrow or Monday at Augusta.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know why she's getting bumped.
I wonder why. Like, I wonder if the only way he's allowed to take him to play there is if he's going to be his caddy or what the deal is, or if it's just... Do you know, has he caddied for him before? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but it feels like Stuart Sink's son. Like, when you have a good thing going, just like stick with it. You know, like...
Yeah.
Why are you changing the bag?
I did want to bring up Lee Westwood in regards to the Masters, because I think I mocked at him last year in the fall for Lee Westwood being your like sneaky sleeper pick or something.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, that's a sneaky sleeper pick like a decade ago, because he had been somewhat irrelevant. But listen, I placed my futures bet on Lee Westwood prior to the weekend here for the Masters, and he is...
No, you didn't. Did you actually?
I did, yeah. 40-1. Why not?
Man, if you would have listened to your younger brother, you probably could have got him even higher in the fall.
I could have got him even higher. If I did that, last November, I probably could have got him at 250-1, if not
Did
higher.
he get an each way on it?
Or... I don't worry about those each ways. Give me the outright. This is a guy who finishes.
A guy who's been there 25 times. When he's 47, this is his time.
This is it. He's due, all right? No, but legitimately, it's a place where he has played very well in the past. And
100%.
his game is is in as good of form as I've ever seen it. Yeah, why not at 40-1? Who knows? He could not show up at all. But
it'd be a hell of
the
a
way
story.
he's playing,
I would love it. I'd love to see
I would
it.
love the story as well.
It kind of.
I mean,
it
I
feels
feel
a
like
little,
there's few people who are like real golf fans that would not love that story.
It kind of feels like Ernie Els like 5-8 years ago. Like how many more times has he had that chance at Augusta? Like, come on, like, can he get it?
Yeah,
Can he get it?
except the difference is that Lee's got nothing.
Well,
In terms of majors, like Lee or Ernie has other. I mean, what does he have? 3, 4? I don't even know, but it would just be like that much more. I think because it would be like Lee finally breaking through.
he's got nothing. He's got nothing to lose, is what you mean.
Yeah.
At this point, but that's what
House
he's
money.
playing, and you love it. You know, like you love to see it. He's out there with his fiance on the bag, like you say. Like he looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, his game's in great form. Go out there and give it. You know,
I'm all
what
for it.
potentially could be his last good run at it, right?
Yeah. And I think the one thing in one of his interviews he said, you know, it's not like he's not still doing all the work. Like he's still doing all the work in the gym. He's still doing all the work to, you know, keep his body flexible, which as at 47 you need to do. He's still doing all the work on the range. He's just, when he's on the course, he's playing competitive golf and having fun with it. It's not that it's, you know, I think too easy the narrative becomes like, oh, well, like he's just happy go. Well, like, no, he's still a professional golfer grinding
100%.
and is in a happy place when he's out there competing, and it seems to be working.
Look at him and Phil when they were in the final group of the Masters. Like their bodies, like they look better now. They're in better shape now than they were then. Their complete golf games might not be there, but these guys work incredibly hard. Like 47 and 50 years old.
It's almost like there's like much better athletes playing golf now than there were 25 years ago.
And sports science and all these.
I'm just trying to goad Kevin into a distance talk.
I think it's just the technology keeping them relevant for longer.
It's that Pro V1, right? Okay,
all right,
Bryson.
So why don't we talk about a guy who maybe when he's on his A game is not in that top tier, but it's pretty damn impressive nonetheless, and Brian Harman.
Man, I can't believe you're doing my boy Brian Harman like that.
Yeah,
Well, let's face it, Brian Harman he's a journeyman, he's a grinder, but it's his game is so impressive. It's so solid.
So first off, I think that's one of the things I love about TPC Sawgrass. And you know, I think we'll get more into the course a bit later, but there's not I mean, you know, major championship venues, whether it's Augusta, whether it's US Opens, Open Championships, PGAs, they're not set up to let a guy like Brian Harman win with precision golf. But TPC Sawgrass is a place that you don't need to be able to bomb it. You don't need to be able to do some of these things. If you can take risky approach shots and pay them off and make putts. And I love that a guy like Brian Harman can compete at this place. And I think it's his second top 10 in a row here.
I'm not entirely sure. I mean,
my biggest regret is that I'm always on Harman, and fortunately I was in all my snake drafts. Adam said that I had too much exposure when I have him in 4 out of 5 of my snake drafts this week.
That is too much exposure.
Then he carried me. He absolutely carried me through the week. But
80% Brian Harman this week. All right, let's go get it. It's a T3. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, he's my 6th pick in.
Hey,
Yeah,
worked.
great.
It worked.
Yeah, and again, another guy who's making, I don't know what the breakdown was exactly, but
800,000 something, 800 and change.
800 and change, not too bad.
Yeah.
Not too bad at all.
So yeah, Bryson. Let's talk Bryson.
Well, so I think this is the perfect. So after 72 holes of golf, Brian Harman was tied with Bryson DeChambeau at this golf course. Like, to me, that's a good golf course.
Well, they have similar games.
So we have, I mean, let's just talk about these 4. We have a almost generational golfer, a phenom in JT, who's a complete game that would play at any generation. Lee Westwood, one of the best players of the last couple of decades at 47.
Same thing, but 20 years
at 47. Yeah. Brian Harman, shorter off the tee journeyman.
Precision.
No, he's
player.
a journeyman, but he has pedigree. Like he was a great amateur. He was a Walker
Totally.
Cup guy. He was a very, very good golfer through the system for a long time. So I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
discredit these guys by saying, oh, he's just a 15-year PGA Tour.
Well, it's not so much to discredit them. It's that they don't have as many weapons in their arsenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of
Exactly.
Well, it's like Zach Johnson, but without a major. Like they're
Yeah.
both great golfers
Yeah.
with similar games, but like Zach Johnson has got that major and then becomes more of a name. But then with the fourth one to round it out is Bryson Dechambeau, who is quote unquote breaking golf. So I feel like that's where you're going.
He put on like a Brian Harman worth of weight in the offseason.
He's lost a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that's
seems to
smart.
be
I mean,
leaning up, yeah.
it honestly reminds me of back when you were playing football and like everyone you went to, you played high school football with went off to university and gained like 50 pounds. And I was like, that doesn't look like healthy weight. And then everyone like loses weight again to like get to, they bulk and then lean.
Those pecs don't stay upright as much, and then they become
Yeah.
late 60s Arnold pecs. Yeah, it's not a good look.
Well, it's like it might be power, but it's not like pliable, flexible range of motion power, and
Adam
that's
would,
what I
strain
think.
a lat when he bent over to tie his shoe.
I tried to pick up one of my daughter's toys under the...
Sorry, Adam.
I tried to pick up one of my toys under our TV cabinet at Christmas, and I almost pulled my lat. It's so tightly wound.
But I think that'll be the next step for Bryson is like converting this into like, I mean, obviously he's in a great spot right now, but it'll be fleshing this out to make it sustainable in the long term and all, everything that goes along with it beyond just the power and what that enables him to do.
Yeah, so my kind of mini Bryson rant this week, and I don't have as good of notes this week, but Bryson was my fade. So I didn't think he's proven to be a great winner. His last couple wins have come on courses with a thick rough, and I don't think that's what TPC Sawgrass necessarily needs. It's a little bit shorter course, so he's my fade. But he dialed it back, and he didn't. I think it was sometime on Saturday where the announcer said he didn't lead any drives on any hole. Like he was playing. He was playing
in terms
to
of
the
distance,
course.
like he wasn't the longest on.
Exactly, he was playing what the course gave him, and that's what
Although
he said.
that might have changed today on 16 when he bombed one out there.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I think on Thursday he went driver 9-iron. He said he got picked up on the mic. But yeah, after his first two rounds, he said like he's putting in the right spots, and he went 69-69. He's playing well, but he's not playing great. I just there's so much hate out there for Bryson, and maybe there's another.
You know what? I don't
What?
think there is as much as you're. As
There's
we're
tons.
always
There's tons of it. The most popular golf
Adam and I are
podcast-
too deep into golf Twitter, but
Absolutely.
there's tons of hate out there.
Like, why are we making fun of him that his logo is of his hat that is also on his hat? Like, it's just a logo. Like, who cares? Other people's logos are like TW or whatever it is. Like, that's his thing. He wears that hat. That's like he needs to brand
I'm not
himself.
arguing
That's-
with you.
But I think the thing you have to realize, Adam, is that Bryson is like a lot of people just want to cheer for some guys and not cheer for other guys, and he is the type of guy that a lot of people don't want to cheer for. It has nothing to do with like how good I think he's a generational golfer, and I think has the potential to be the best of this, maybe kind of like younger than JT, like the best of that group right now.
And he's doing some things that are so unique and have proven beneficial. With obviously the length is always talked about, but we touched upon it last week on the podcast. The same length clubs and what that allows him to do with his irons in the thick rough. It's a huge advantage that he's able to that he's produced this swing that can with these clubs that can do that. It's fantastic.
But I think the reason, I totally agree, first off. But the reason, he is an easy guy to make fun of.
For sure he is.
I mean, you look at the videos he puts out. It's when it's when he's trying to be charismatic, or he's trying to do what he thinks is cool. It's oh man, you just don't get it. But when he's just himself and nerding out, to me, that's when he's at his coolest and when he's the most interesting.
Yeah.
But the problem is he tries to appeal to the people who are never going to like him.
But he's still respectful to the game. He's respectful to like everything. He's just different, and I feel like people like to.
So he is respect. I agree. I think he is. He's a competitor. He gets fired up. We've seen him.
Totally.
We've seen him get snippy at officials, but I think all of us know people, have played sports against people, have potentially been that person when we're fired up playing a sport, not for millions of dollars, where we're like a little bit not our best selves. So.
Yeah, you're telling me. I think about
so to me, like I what I'm saying is I agree with you. People will dislike him because of these things, but you know, Tiger gets snappy at someone for taking a photo in his backswing. People will forgive Tiger because Tiger's cool. Tiger's the ultimate in cool. But Bryson is. There's going to be people that never like Bryson, and you know what? To me, that's fine. I'm not going to be one of those people. I like the things that he does. I don't think his strength. I mean, you look at these commercials he has with 5 other guys, and like the cut to him is like the cheesiest reading of the line of any of them, and that's just how he is, you know.
Yeah, that's who he is. I also feel like this whole villain thing. Like, yeah, we need a villain in all sports. Like, hello, like Patrick Reed, like knocking on the door, like I'm here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Not only is he there, he's like ready to do it too. He's like, where do I sign up? Like, what else do I have to do?
Kick some sand with my club or fluff up a line? Like, hello, I'm the Joker, but you're making me the
Should I like step on someone else's ball? Like, no, people.
Yeah. What else do you want me to do here?
But I don't see Bryson so much as a villain as more to me. He's not everyone's flavor. People just don't.
Yeah, and I think you're right. We're deep into the whole golf Twitter thing where the more I see it, the more I want to counterbalance it. Be like, okay, fine, I'm gonna be a Bryson guy, I guess.
Well, and I totally agree. And like, I would rather be positive than not.
But you know, I think I mentioned it last week, and Craig kind of alluded to it. He just does things that are meme worthy, you know, and it's it's like I don't think all of the hate that you're saying, and again, you guys are deeper into it than I am, but I think some of the hate is just in good fun. I would think is more like ribbing the guy, and I mean he's on top of the world right now. He's really on top of the golf world. Like,
yeah,
he didn't get it done this week. He had a lowly 3rd place after winning last week. Like, he's doing pretty good. I don't think Bryson needs to care too much about what people are saying about him, right? So
yeah, I mean, in terms of his game, I love what he's doing. I love that he was able to go to a course where distance is not a weapon, and you know, potentially have a chance to win it on Sunday.
But we're echoing the same thing from last week. We talked about Bryson a bit. Anyone else in the leaderboard? You guys want to?
We can't leave Bryson without talking about what the heck happened
on 4.
Yeah. So like,
that I might touch upon that in a future segment.
We'll get to that because yeah, I mean, that's another, like, just the pure outpouring of joy when that happened, I think is indicative of how so many people feel about Bryson.
Yeah. Okay, before we move on, I think we want to talk about the course a little bit. Anyone else on the leaderboard you guys want to touch on? Get final thoughts that we won't touch on later?
You know, I wanted to give a shout out to our boy Corey Connors again, making just a charge on Sunday there. You know what? He could have got it to 14. He could have. He was 10 after 13, or was it even 12? Hole 12. Anyway, he had a 13 legit look on 14 to get to 11. He was putting for eagle on 16.
On 16, that was bad.
3 putt, yeah.
And then, you know, that was kind of it from there. I think he had a look on 18 for birdie too. Didn't make anything. But that's kind of
so he finished 10 under 7th, solo 7th. If he posted a 12 or 13, that would be pretty scary to those guys.
Yeah.
Coming 17, 18 there.
Yeah.
Now, I was also thinking about this because if you get a win at this time of season, you get into the Masters, but then you also have a very, very good chance of getting into the Tour Championship, which gets you into the next Masters, correct?
I don't know.
Or is that only because it was a COVID year?
I think it was because it was a COVID year. I'm not 100% sure about that though.
Because a win here, wouldn't you just get enough OWGR points to probably carry yourself into the Masters?
But for the next year, I mean.
Yeah. No, but even even this, for the next
Oh,
year.
no, at a tournament like this, I mean more like a win this time of year.
Oh,
so like say Connors won it last
Yeah.
week, and I mean he's in the Masters already, but say he wasn't, and
Right.
he won in, and then
Is he
gets
in the
into the
Masters?
tour.
I've made a mistake with this before, so
I think he is. I could
How
be
is
wrong,
he
but-
in?
because he was
I don't-
60 something in the world. He's
Maybe
up to
it's not.
40. He's up to 41, so he's in.
Oh, there he is.
Now
Okay.
I don't see him here so there's some people we're going to bring up again. I don't see Casey being someone who's going to get brought up again. Paul Casey, he finished tied for 5th, 11 under.
He had to have rinsed like 3 balls today too.
Well, so he rinsed a bunch of balls today.
Thursday.
He had a 7 on 17. So like this guy was so close to winning. Like he had so many good shots to win this tournament if he just would have eliminated a few of these holes that he.
He's playing fantastic right now.
He's playing
Yeah.
fantastic golf.
Like
the
top
thing
5
I
in the world,
loved about
fantastic.
him on Saturday was he was talking about how he hasn't played here before. He wants to go out there and try to win it. He understands that you have to take on risks to have a chance. Maybe it was a bit of poor foreshadowing as to how his round today was going to go. But when someone's playing well like he is right now, I do like the fact that he went out there to try to win it. And he put a bunch of balls in bad spots. But
Yeah.
He beat up on his playing partner there, who's supposedly A game is top notch, John Rahm.
Oh, I was like, who are you talking about? Who are you trying to drag down right now?
I also I think we should mention Talor Gooch, but I'm gonna be bringing
I was
him
gonna
up
say,
again later too.
tune in later if you're going to be
Yeah.
upset at us for not bringing him up now.
Okay, let's talk players, hype, Sawgrass, 5th major, all that. Who wants to dive into that kind of topic?
Yeah, I'll start off. I thought it was awesome. I mean, I was super excited going into this week, and even though a lot of the guys I was kind of pulling for had got themselves into a position where I didn't think they had a chance going into the weekend, JT kind of being one of them. I mean, he went into the weekend at -2. I thought he was well back, but it's still, it still is dramatic and exciting.
Totally.
The course is just, it's built for it,
It's brilliant.
Literally.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's captivating.
Yeah. When they reworked the schedule, I think 2 or 3 years ago, and it was back in March, and it's the perfect amuse-bouche to the major season. Like, we get this nice taste. It's
very
not a
nice.
major. Yeah, thank you. I'm quite cultured, if you haven't noticed.
Just trying to bring a little culture to the group.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring a little culture of the group, okay? What's nice about it, like, same course. We only have that one major at Augusta. That's the
No,
same
first
course
off, I got to
every
interrupt you. Do you know what amuse-bouche means?
year. One bite. I don't know.
I think it means like happy mouth.
Oh, okay. I did not.
I could be
know
wrong.
what it
If I am wrong,
I
let me
thought it
know.
sounded very fancy. Yeah.
Yeah, way to shoot me down. This is why you're not invited to the Finer Things Club, Craig. Come on, man. So it's at the same course every year. Like, only Augusta does that. It gives us, it's like the perfect, all these DFS contests get bigger. We get the live at the players from the Golf Central, and like the lead
Every
up,
shot,
there's a bunch of hype. It's not a major, but it's the perfect kind of like push you into the super season this year, push you into the major season every other year.
Yeah, quite honestly, personally, I don't care whether it's a major or not. Like, whether to me,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't matter.
semantics. Like,
It's like whatever a par is, it doesn't matter.
it's an accomplishment. Like the things we call majors now have only been sort of solidified for a handful of decades. They used to think of the U.S. Amateur and the British Amateur as the 2 majors. They used to think about the Western Open as a major for a long time. Like, to me, it's all semantics. We call.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the 4 things we call majors now. The Players is an amazing career accomplishment. You look at the list of winners; it's all top players from when they were playing. I love having something like this that we go do the same year. I think, I was seeing this discussed. I think 16, 17, 18 here is more exciting than 16, 17, 18 at Augusta. I think the early part of the front nine at Augusta is probably better, but I think the finishing here, it's harder to get in with a win, which to me it keeps it dramatic till the very bitter end, because it's a tough shot on 17, tough tee shot on 18. If you've taken on the tough tee shot on 18, you have an easier shot into the green on 18. But if you haven't, you can easily get into trouble on 18. To me, I think it's a great course. It's whatever you want to call it. It's not a major. It's the 5th major. It's a career accomplishment for these guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're probably right about 16, 17, 18 versus 16, 17, 18 at Augusta, but I'll take the back nine at Augusta as my favorite,
totally.
Sunday.
Yeah. Although the back nine at Augusta is a touch overrated. Like essentially,
let's not get into this week. Come on.
Well, no, but like essentially, you have a few awesome. Like it's got like three or four holes
of the best in golf.
But then it's got some boring holes too. Like and that's what I would say. Whereas the back nine here, you could say that the worst hole on the back nine here is better than the worst hole. Anyway, so we don't need to get into this.
I forget what I was going to say. Oh yeah, we haven't even been doing this podcast for a year, so we're not a full like every event under our belt. Having, as Craig said, I picked JT in our pick show. Having him in the lead, getting up to that green on 17, like my heart rate was like, it was racing.
Oh yeah.
Knowing especially on Thursday, how many of those balls just like hit, and then people are like, okay, it's going to check at the back, and they're like, shocked that it didn't hold the green. And throughout the whole week, this new green on 17, we heard about it all week. Man, it is a dramatic finish. It's
for sure.
So JT gets that dry, you're like, okay, he'll make a bogey at least.
similar to that, Adam. Like I had that ticket that I showed you.
Yes, yeah.
It was, I was in, single digits at one point in a 90-something thousand person contest, DFS contest, and Oosthuizen was my weak point at the start of the day. It ended up collapsing because it had Gim and Kirk on it. But when Oosty was playing in, like he was finishing his round before everyone else on my ticket was starting. So when he was going through like 17, man, like I was sweating it. Like I'm like, oh man, like this is you hitting into the drink here or not could be like such a big difference for me. And that's awesome. Like it's great to have shots that people have to execute.
Well, it's awesome too to have a finish where you can go, eagle birdie, and you can go like double, triple, quad.
Yeah.
Easily.
Or birdie 12 par or whatever it is.
And I think the other thing on that note is that you can't hide. Like
no,
it makes it so that you can't just you can't play your way in easily with a 2-shot lead. That's the beauty of it.
No. Let me hit the center of the fairway. Oh, it's a floating green. Great. Like, let me hit a stinger out there. Oh shoot. Like
that tee shot on 18 is just like it gives me like chills just looking at I hit a cut and I'm just like I'd be short of the trees, but I'm like I'd be in the trees every time. It's like every time unless
quite
I
happily.
Yeah.
But on that note, let's just I think a perfect example, JT's second shot into 16. Like having to execute that in that moment, he ended up on the left side of the green, but still it's so easy for that shot to leak, and you're bringing it in with so hot trying to hit that green in 2 that if it leaks and it lands over on that the other part of the green, it's so easy to kick into the water. Like it's just great.
I think if anything, he was a little unlucky that stayed as far left. Like he didn't get a bit of a friendly kick over.
So he was hitting a 5-wood, and I think they said the pin was 15 feet from the edge of the water. With the water right. Like, give me a break. How do you manage that?
I saw a comment on Twitter too that just cracks me up, and you guys will appreciate this. Like, how many machines do you think maintenance workers have put into the water on this course over the years?
I was thinking about that on 17.
Like you guys have mown greens, hand mown greens, rolled greens. Like, man,
I was
never
never in charge of that.
Sweating it.
I don't think Adam was ever up.
I ran over tee markers.
Adam raked bunkers, I guess. That's true.
No, do you think 17 is just a hand mow, the whole thing?
I think so. Yeah.
How else do you get up?
I think quite a few of those would be Hanmos.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, we don't need to bore people with our maintenance talk here.
I think the other thing, though, this is kind of a segue and a closing statement. One of the best things about this course is how many of the stars missed it. So we had, Greg talked about this in the intro, but Rory, Scotty Scheffler, Hideki, Tommy Fleetwood, Webb Simpson, Victor Hovland, like he said from his mom calling him about the penalty, Tony Finau, Xander Schauffele, our boys here, Patrick Cantlay. Like,
yeah,
it's an incredible course to have that many elite. Usually those guys can have their
now can you dig into that Hovland just in case people don't know what that's about?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So what happened? Basically, he marked his 16-inch putt and moved it for Justin Thomas's putt. Moved it out of the way as
it was in his line, so he had to move.
But then
his
he
marker.
moved it again in the same direction, so he was in about 6 inches away. An easy tapped it in. But this is an event where every single shot is live, as they advertise many times. And his family was watching it back home, and his mom called him after the round and said, "Are you gonna get a penalty today? Like what happened there?" And he had no idea that he did anything wrong, and nobody else did. His playing partners, like the rules official, nobody did. So he looked at it, I think self-reported it, and lost 2 strokes and ultimately missed the cut.
And so essentially he did move it again, but then moved it in the wrong direction. Right?
A simple brain fart that anybody could make. Well, it's kind of weird. Like, who was it who didn't mark their ball, just picked it up late last year?
Oh, that was wrong.
Like, kind of like that. It's just like,
and the tournament he went on to win.
Just frozen.
He went on
like,
to win that tournament, I'm pretty sure.
What do I do now? Yeah, that was a BMW, I think.
Yeah. One of the things to me is this just highlights that distance is somewhat neutralized at this course, because all of these guys, when they show up at a lot of more championships type courses, they get a half stroke or maybe in a full stroke, just based on being that much longer. Like a Rory gets that on a Brian Harman just because of it's another tool he has. But then when you take away some of that advantage, I mean, it's always an advantage, but you take away some of that, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, but how do you do these other 4 tools as well as these guys that make their living doing those 4 things? And these guys, they can't lean on that, and there's hazards that can creep into play so easily. This is one of the things that I think makes this great, is that you can't just show up here as a DJ and roll over the course. Yeah,
I agree. Okay, so speaking of DJ, I think one last thing before we get into other segments here that I think was pretty newsworthy is DJ basically said that he's going to skip the Olympics this summer. Number 1 golfer in the world. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I read about that, and I kind of understand his stance on it. He said that he hadn't really decided, and then he just missed the chance to sign up, and it's very DJ-esque. I don't know. But
did anyone put
do they serve sandwiches?
Yeah. But I mean, he says it's kind of right in the heart of a busy schedule for him. I don't know about, I know personally I wouldn't want to be doing extra traveling this year if I didn't have to.
I hold the Olympics in pretty high regard. The one thing that I was, after seeing that, so DJ played in the 3M Open this year, which not a ton of guys went to and played in. And now the 3M Open is the one event between the Open Championship and the Olympics. Now, what I don't know is whether he has some sponsor obligations that make it so he has to play in the 3M Open, because then he would be going from essentially the week he has the Open Championship, then having to go to Minnesota to play there, and then having to go to Japan. Whereas I think a lot of people who would be playing the Open would obviously skip that week and go or start prepping, whatever they're going to do, but not play the week in between. So, I mean, I don't even know if that's the case at all, but that is a theory that I've come up with.
I don't know. I don't like it. I hold the Olympics in a very high regard. It was always kind of the pinnacle athletic event. It comes every 4 years. Okay? You can't.
Sorry. For golf, you do though. It's a pinnacle event for golf.
Not for golf. Golf is brand new. We have 4 majors a year. We have one Olympics every 4 years. I think if it continues on a good trend with the top players going, it could be one of these, like, iconic golf career achievements that you only have two very good players have two opportunities to get. Like, I mean,
I think it's good for golf to be in the Olympics, involved in the Olympics. I think it's going to be good for golf if they have their star. Like, to me, it's one of these things like basketball, when they went from having the dream
Amateurs
team when it was first professionals that you could have in, and then it just like the US just dominated for a while, and then it was just show up and you can win. So then they got beat up. I think it was Argentina who really like hit them in the mouth that one year in 04, 08, somewhere around there. And then like again afterwards, all the stars showed up. And to me, like I think that's good for basketball to do that. I think it'd be good for golf to, like, it's a bigger stage. It's hard for these golfers to realize, I think, because they feel like they're playing on the biggest stages in golf, but the Olympics is the biggest stage in sport. Maybe aside from soccer World Cup, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I disagree in a sense, because unlike basketball, where I don't know, it's a team game, right? And so then it's a team thing with your country, your fellow countrymen, and that often breaks up, NBA teams into their countries, or with hockey or whatever. Whereas with golf, it's still an individual sport. It's the same format as every other week. It's a 72-hole stroke play event. To be honest, it doesn't
that's
do
where
a
that's
lot.
where potentially I think they could get. I think it would be
They
more
could get
interesting
creative with
if
it,
they
but
went
I don't know
match
what
play.
your argument is here.
No,
though.
to me, I'm not really. For me, it doesn't really do a lot. Like, as I love, you guys know, I love the Olympics. I get into it every 2 years, all the time, all the sports. I become like a luge fanatic during during the Olympics.
I've never cared so much about handball.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. For me as a golf fan, it just doesn't do a lot for me. And
the other thing that I want to bring up is the whole travel thing leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because it's kind of BS if you travel to Saudi Arabia for that tournament, but don't go to Japan for the Olympics. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, I agreed. But so to me, I do agree with you somewhat, Kevin. I still think regardless,
it's just another event is how I feel about
but
it.
I don't think it is. I think that's how it's being interpreted by some of these players. To me, I would love it if they went match play. I think that match play is an underutilized format in golf, and one of the reasons being that it doesn't televise well. It doesn't
always lead to
it's
the
not
best
a
matchups.
concise
Yes,
week-long event.
Yeah.
So like the Olympics, do it match play, fine. They care less about whether it's a solid block of programming, and they just, people will watch it. I mean, it's happening in the middle of the night anyways, so watch the highlight package. We talked about this in the last couple of weeks sometime. Make a mixed doubles event. Like, do interesting things with it. And I think that would help to make it matter. But to me, it's good for golf to be in the Olympics. It would be good for golf to have the best players there.
Yeah, you almost need to go 100% amateur or have the best players. Like,
when it's stuck honestly, in the middle, I don't care about DJ really. Like the US,
that's kind of where
that's
kind of where I land about this whole thing. Is I read it, I was like, huh, and that's
like,
about all.
It's more
I felt about
if Matt Kuchar is representing the state. Like it's like, okay, so if DJ's not there, then it's going to be what, Bryson, JT. I don't even know here. Who would be top of the? I was going to say Rom, but know. It's not Rom.
Brooks.
Colin Morikawa would be up there.
Morikawa.
Anyway,
so you're going to have Xander.
Captain America, Patrick Reed.
So you're going to have 4 studs from the States, assuming that top players are going. It's more like, to me, if the Victor Hovland doesn't go for Norway, if Rom doesn't go for Spain. Like, one of the things that's great about golf is you do have all of these countries who have top golfers in the world. And so that's what would really lose the flavor for me.
Yeah, and I think it has tons of potential because there are so many sports. I live in a city that has a luge track, a bobsleigh track. There's a handful of them around the world, and that's why Jamaica is a Disney movie-esque story when they put together a bobsled team, because you can't do that. Golf is played worldwide. like there's very few places that doesn't represent in golf, and I think that's why it would be an amazing Olympic sport.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's amazing what happens when a sport grows up under the British Empire when they control the world. It just seems to spread everywhere.
Oh, I like it. That's saucy.
Okay, man, it's true.
It's true. Moving on, 3 stars. 3 stars of the week. We're running long on this one. It's a Players Championship, but 3 stars. Third star, Antoine Rozner, guys. There's another tournament this week. Qatar Masters. I feel like I got it right that time, Craig. Craig will correct me. Qatar Masters.
No, yeah, both of us keep saying Qatar, but I'm pretty sure it's Qatar.
Yeah. Drained a massive 60-foot putt to win. I just want to kind of talk about he's a professional golf grinder. So
he's the professional golfer. I'm like, oh, interesting.
He is a professional golfer. 2017 was playing on the Alps Tour. 2018 graduated to the Challenger Tour. 2019 won twice on the Challenge Tour, earned his European Tour card. 2020 in his first European Tour, first season on the European Tour, has won twice in 23 events.
Wow.
Like that, late 20s, I think he's 28. That's grinding. Like from 2017 to Alps to 2020. Like I guess it was kind of late 2020 and early 2021 that he got his wins, but still huge. Like that's just grinding. He moves up to 63rd in the world. We'll get an invite to WGC match play
that's huge.
If he chooses to go, I think in 2 weeks. I don't think he's ever played in a match play. I don't think he's ever played in a major. So huge step for Rozner this week. Huge win.
Yeah, and he was someone who I'd been picking forever in DFS because he was getting that disrespect stamp for so long. But then he got priced up for the first time this week.
And you didn't pick him.
I didn't pick him because he was actually getting priced up, but I should have.
Second start, Lee Westwood. I think we talked about him enough, but back-to-back 54-hole leads at 47 years old. Remarkable. Mm-hmm. He's living his best life.
I mean, I think that like he like we've talked about, his attitude is great. I think he's going to take a personal offense to the fact that he's been the second star 2 weeks in a row. It's going to really irk him. That's going to be his bulletin board material for, maybe the Masters.
Yeah, and then 40-1. There you go for you. Hang it on the bulletin board lead. First star, Justin Thomas. Great weekend. 7 strokes to start, or 7 strokes behind the start. Behind the leaders to start the weekend. He hit 17 of 18 greens in reg on Sunday. I think he just barely missed the 18th green, which he laughed about after. First winner to do that on Sunday since Hal Sutton in 2000. And here's another stat for you guys. PGA Tour history, to reach 14 wins before the age of 28. There's been 4 people to do it. Justin Thomas entered that club along with Tiger, Jack Nicklaus, and Johnny Miller. 14 wins before the age of 28. That is elite. And that's why you could say he's a generational player right there.
Yep.
That surprises me, actually. I thought
there'd be some other wins is a lot.
Yeah.
14's a lot of wins.
I mean, it also, like, Rory didn't have a ton. He was playing a lot more in Europe when he was younger, so, I mean.
Bring it back to Rory. All right.
Always.
Okay, let's move on. Stock up, stock down. Who wants to go? Craig, you want to go first?
Am I going? I'll go.
Yeah.
So I'm going up. I got Daniel Berger. I think that, we had... So first off, Daniel Berger opened up with a 74. He was +2. The cut line ended up at even. He was one of these people who was right there with Patrick Cantlay. We kind of just assumed these people were going to do what they needed to do to make the cut. Berger did. He went out and shot 68, 71, 67, worked his way into a backdoor top 10. To me, it was exactly the type of thing that you expect a top player in the world to do. He is in form. I think he is one of the reasons we were doing our preview show for the Honda Classic. I think I'm going to be shocked if he's not the favorite for that. Right. Betting favorite, highest price in DFS, all the things. Although it depends, Lee Westwood, Berger will take him.
Sanjay.
Mackenzie Hughes.
It's gonna be Berger.
Chase Koepka.
66 last
Those guys
year.
are
Come
all
on.
good golfers, but I'm saying it's going to be Berger. I just to me he's in good form. I don't think he's such a quiet ho hum guy. I don't think he gets enough appreciation or recognition for how good he's playing. So stock up Daniel Berger.
I like it.
Yep.
And then speaking of ho-hum style players and people who are at +2 through their first round, I'm going stock down on Patrick Cantlay.
It pains me.
It does. It pains me. I had a lot of exposure to Patrick Cantlay this week. And so to me, this is exactly the type of thing where Cantlay needed to get it done on Friday to make the cut, and he just didn't. Like it was, and I don't know, like I didn't watch all of it, but he didn't. It just was uninspired, kind of. Like it's not like he ever even really charged at it. To me, I think maybe in part he is one of these guys that distance is also a weapon for, but Patrick Cantlay, like, I think we are all big Patrick Cantlay fans. I think we would all like to see him do well. Well, maybe me and Adam are big Patrick Cantlay fans. He's a hard guy not to cheer for with what he's been through in life.
Totally.
He was as high a pedigree guy in his, amateur career, first, early turning pro, and then has dealt with a ton for how old he is as a professional golfer. We want to see him get some of those marquee wins. He was in a very similar position to JT. Like, he easily could have been in the same position as JT. Berger ended up also at -2 after his second round. So Cantlay easily could have gotten from 74 in the opening round to -2 after 2 rounds, and then did what JT did. But it's just he needs a statement win. So that's sort of what I'm hanging the hat on. He needs a statement win, and he didn't make the cut at a statement win event.
Yeah, and he was a heavy betted, kind of favored in DFS world player this week. Obviously my one and done, so I hold it close. Friday, it was weird. Like, he wasn't playing awful. His approaches were around 20 feet, and he was just burning edges. It was either the wrong pace or slightly the wrong line. He seemed to be playing just fine, but he needed to go, I think, like you said, 2 under just to get to even, and he just didn't do it. Like, the putts didn't fall. Then you kind of, okay, I need to birdie to the next 4, or I need to birdie out, and it became too much to overcome, and it was tough. I've had him in my pocket for one and done for a while, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna whip him out at the highest purse event, and yeah.
And it came a little bit out of nowhere, but I feel like this is one of those events where you can miss. Like, there's no guarantee you're going to make the cut just because you're showing up and you're in form and you're a top player.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, Kev. Stock up, stock down.
Yeah. Well, moving up, I have Talor Gooch.
Ooh.
First of all, you gotta love it when a guy who's got a name like Gooch is playing well, so because you can always get that Gooch chance going, which I love.
He's taking over the Cooch.
Yeah, I think he will.
Cooch into the Gooch.
That's my prediction here. That's why he's my stock up. No, Talor Gooch. So he kind of charged up the leaderboard today. Finished. What was it? A tie for fifth in the end. So for him, awesome. Awesome paycheck, awesome FedEx Cup points, all the stuff that is important for a player like him to just kind of get under his belt, to keep his job security, everything like that.
Those sweet FedEx Cup points.
Those sweet FedEx Cup points. But he's been playing sneaky good lately. So in his last 11 events, he's made 8 cuts. The 3 that he's missed, he's either missed by 1 or 2 shots. So he's right there. And on that note, like, I know we've talked about it before, but the depth of these fields, like, you get a guy like JT who is on the other side of the cut line through 27 holes, go on to win the tournament. Victor Perez makes the cut on the number, comes Victor Perez, 200 and what in the world, comes charging up to finish in the top 10, I think. The depth of these players. If you make the cut, you have a legitimate chance to win a lot of the weeks. So guys that are just missing the cut by a shot or two, it's not like they're playing terribly,
Yeah.
And that seems to be like even more so this year. And maybe it's just because I'm paying more attention, but it seems to be more so this year than ever before. I think the depth is just getting more and more all the time. So yeah, he's essentially in his last 11 tournaments, he's either made the cut or been right there. He has 3 top 10s in that time period. Now 64th in the world. He's a guy I'll just, keep your eye on. If you're looking for your 6 of 6s like you guys always are, I'm looking for my top 10s, my
now,
top
do you know
20s.
what we mean when we're saying that?
Yeah, totally. You're looking for 6 out of 6. I get it. No, but keep your eye on him. I think he's a looking more and more like a safe play all the time. So keep your eye on him. He's a great ball striker. Seems to have a pretty complete game too. So I think he's trending in the right direction.
Okay, well, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I got a pie in the face moment. I'm gonna say it now. Kevin's pie in the face. What'd you say Victor Perez was? 200 and something in the world? 36 in the world,
top
man.
50.
Disrespect stab right there.
No, I was thinking about
Doug Gim.
Doug Gim. Sorry. Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Good recovery.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I could have, but I'm really good at using my mouth.
No,
to make
Craig.
words.
I was having a FaceTime family chat with Craig earlier today, and he put 250 something in the world.
257,
in my head.
I think.
We were talking about Gim. Yeah, sorry.
Unfortunately, Gim
pie in the
plays
face. But
257
that's an early,
in the world today.
an early face segment moment there.
Okay, Kevin, we got moving down.
Moving down. I hate to do it. I know 2 of us especially really like this guy, Rory McIlroy.
Oh, I was surprised because on the notes we have Rory. I wasn't sure which one it was going to be.
I was just expecting it to be Sabatini.
Yeah, so Rory McIlroy, I mean, it's hard to... He could obviously pop next tournament he plays and win, but it's... we haven't talked about it yet, but him talking about the effect that Bryson had on him to chase more speed and how he's clearly out of sync right now is just kind of scary for a guy that is that good. He's fallen out of the top 10 now in the world. It's I don't know what to say except that I'm worried my future bet at the Masters that I put on him a few weeks ago, I'm now not feeling so good about. Again, he could get it. I hope he finds it on the range. He kind of gears it back down, tries to just swing more within himself or whatever the changes he made to try to get more speed. He reverses that and can kind of just get back to what he was doing. But to see somebody like that so off is kind of disconcerting, Yeah. I love Rory. Like I want him to be. It's more fun when Rory's up around the lead. So I hope he gets it back. But right now, it's hard to trust him.
It is. It is Pi Day. It's 3.14. It's March 14th. I had some dominoes. I felt like me and Rory, have that special connection. We both like dominoes.
I thought you were going to say something about it coming full circle or.
Oh no, another pie in the face moment.
Yeah, just real quick, because were you going to talk about Rory, or are you getting into your stock up, stock down?
No, I was going to ask Kevin a question because he said something that I want to. Pry a little bit.
Go for it.
How many Masters futures do you have this year?
A lot.
Most of the
I've
field,
realized that I have a lot of Masters futures.
I know you have Spieth, I know you have Rory, and I know you have Lee Westwood.
I have Bryson Dechambeau as well.
Whoa! Anti-Greens book. You have Bryson?
Yeah, I know. He's just playing so
Man,
good.
it's a par 68
I didn't think about that. It was I'll get into that later, but I got a little overexcited this weekend with some of my betting, all right?
Fair.
Who else have? Cam Smith. I'm happy about that one.
For 2020 or 2021?
2021.
Okay.
Hey, we talked about it after the Masters this year. We're going to see Cam Smith in a green jacket one day, I think. Might be this year.
Sorry, Craig. You go and Rory. He's your boy.
So I this whole Rory trying to chase Bryson thing, I'm not buying it, to be honest. Well,
he's the one that said it.
I am. Well, so I agree. I agree that he said
with what
he's
said.
playing checkers when Bryson's playing chess.
Yeah. No, I think he's playing chess. He's trying to let Bryson think that he got in Rory's head. Things like Rory's driving is in fine shape. It's been his approach play that really has hurt him. He's gaining almost a stroke off the tee. Yes, he is only third in strokes gained off the tee this year.
Craig, just to be clear, it's not just his driving. We're talking about speed, right? He specifically noted like the way Bryson hits it out of the rough.
Yeah, and that could be more the case, because to me, so his approach play is bad, and like he has been good at getting himself into good positions off the tee, but this is going back further. I mean, maybe it was early when Bryson was playing well early in the summer, but I just think it's sort of it almost feels like every week it's just Rory keeps getting asked about why he's not playing well. So it's because he doesn't have the spark. It's because he said he kind of feeds off fans. Like, it's been sort of a different story for the last 6 months. It's something different, because he just keeps getting asked about it. And I'm not saying that there's nothing to the fact that he might be trying to make sure that he can get through rough better, and saw what Bryson did at the US Open. But to me I think it's a little bit overblown. Like, I think Rory has some precision yardages and accuracy with his shorter clubs into greens that he needs to work out, because other than that, he's right on where his form should be. That's the one thing that when he's playing at his best, he does at a very high level that he's not doing right now.
Well, and like I say, I hope, I mean, the fact that he's, whether it has to do with Bryson, whatever, the fact that he's alluding to him not being able to find it right now and kind of searching for something is more what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. And because it's clear, that's not like for open for interpretation. Like, he's clearly struggling with, like, it's the approach aspect of his game. But it's just kind of shocking to see him as off as he is. He's airmailing greens into like the worst spots he can leave himself. And not like rarely. Like, he's doing it a lot right now, or he sure did this week. So
one thing I just want to pull up here, because I think this kind of puts it into context of what Rory is doing right now. So Rory is driving the ball fine, but his greens in regulation, he's actually 130th in greens in regulation.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Even though he's third in strokes gained off the tee. So it's really, but the thing that is crazy, he's 6th in birdie. So like he's making a lot of good shots. It's just that he's not managing his misses. His bad shots.
It's not consistent right now.
Yeah.
And that's somebody like Rory, he's good enough that he can limit, like he can get in the top 10 with like his C game, So to see him like this far away from that is just what's so shocking, right?
So yeah, a couple of points that I think exactly what Kevin said. So I'm just on the official World Golf Ranking site right now. 11 of his last 13 starts, he's been top 25. Like, he hasn't been playing
and that's
well.
With his C game.
That's with his C game.
Exactly.
The drastic thing is he doesn't have the win in 2020 or 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's also one of the most... I agree with it being a stock down. I agree with all these things. I just, to me, I don't think... I am more... And maybe this is just me being a total Rory homer. I don't think it's far off. I think he's going to get some sort of fix, some sort of thought, some sort of something with his approach play, and it's going to kind of click quickly, because there's so many things in his game that are fine. It just seems to be like very narrow things that are costing him a lot.
I mean, guys, we're having the same conversation about JT 3 weeks ago, and
Totally.
he won one of the biggest tournaments of his career.
And that's why I'm trying to give Rory this pep talk.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I'll say is
I got that futures bet.
He's one of the most open interviews in golf, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
And best interviews.
And speaking of that, a lot of these guys are nowadays, and it's refreshing.
It's awesome.
It is refreshing.
Yeah.
The anti-DJ.
Hey, DJ actually says what he's thinking.
He does. It's just...
Okay. I think we need to plow on. Adam, you're up. Stock up, stock down.
Stock up. Shane Lowry is my stock up this week because I don't know if I've talked about him in stock down recently, but he hasn't been playing well. He is just kind of faded, and nothing's been there in the last little bit. But he got a solo 8th at the Players. Big tournament, most stacked field in golf. He got a solo 8. It's actually his first top 10. I was trying to do some digging. His first top 10 in a major tour event. So I'm counting the PGA Tour and the European Tour. First top 10 since the 2019 Open.
I was going to say since he won it.
Wow.
Like, he hasn't had a top 10 since. Like,
That's crazy.
That's a pretty drastic little slip. But he played well. 3 under in 3 of his 4 rounds. He flashed his elite around the green game. He's a guy I really like to cheer for. I'm glad that he showed some form. I don't know what that means. I think that's good for the rest of 2021. I don't know what it means. It might be kind of a one-off. It hasn't been encouraging of late, but this is a good kind of, okay, maybe buy at the bottom. Let's buy Shane Lowry at the bottom right now.
Yeah.
I stunned
totally,
you guys.
Totally on board. I was just continuing to read Rory McIlroy's stats.
That's fair. I'll just go into my stock down.
So, no, one thing real quick, because this will shock you. Rory has only one eagle since September.
What?
Yeah, I know. I bet on him to eagle in the first round of this.
He only has a single. I mean, this
didn't.
is just PGA, but he only has a single eagle on the PGA Tour since September.
That's shocking. That is shocking.
That's unbelievable.
I told you, I was shocked.
That makes no sense. How many rounds of golf? That's got to be at least like 8 tournaments.
He's got 29 measured shot length
rounds.
There'd be would there be more than that? No, maybe not.
Holy.
Yeah.
Sergio had 3 on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, sorry, continue on. Lowry, totally agree, stock up.
Stock down, Sam Burns. He's been stock up for a long time. He's been peaking. He started 2021 on fire. He was going to win the Genesis. He looked like he's going to win the Genesis and didn't win the Genesis. And since then has fallen off. Since that close call Genesis, he's missed 2 cuts. This one was ugly though. It was a plus 13 missed cut. Through 2 days.
Kyle Stanley's taking plus 13 at this point.
Wasn't even close. He should have been with those Euros with Poulter and Henrik in the lounge drinking their Pepsis. The angry golfers. Sam Burns should have got an invite there. Not really much to say. It's been 2 bad weeks in a row. He lost 2 strokes per day, both off the green and around the green, or off the tee and around the green. That's 4 strokes total per day. That is brutal. That's really, really bad. This is a guy that I think, liked the potential of, the long-term form of, and it's just been a couple bad weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't think any of us would say we like his ability to consistently show up. It's more when he shows up in form, we like what his on form. And that's the reality of him, is that he's one of these guys we are going to see win a PGA Tour event, within the next few years here. But he also is going to have a lot of miscuts.
Yeah, I think that's right.
This might be an example of a stock though that kind of, it was gaining momentum, and then people just went crazy on it, and it spiked at the Genesis. People were just like whoa, and then now it's kind of just back down, and it's gonna slowly start trending up.
It's back to its intrinsic value.
Yeah, it's a bit of a correction. It's not necessarily like
I like that.
Yeah, so let's not panic on Sam yet.
The financials came out. It wasn't great. But you think we're gonna be profitable in the next little bit? I like it. Kevin, face segment.
Okay, face segment. We got 2 parts. Well, 2 main parts to the face segment this week. The first part is 2 face. So this is going to encapsulate the center of the club face and the pie in the face moment, and it's both Brendon Todd. Brendon Todd gets a hole-in-one on the 8th hole on Friday. 213, beautiful. I think he had a 5-wood in there, just a perfect, just dripped right in at the end. Like, you could tell he was stoked. Hole-in-one at the Players, awesome. Like, yeah, I was pumped for him.
Yeah.
Pie in the face moment. Brendon Todd today on 17. Totally shanked it. He almost hit it on the island with the tree. Not the island green, but the island with the tree.
Next to the camera tower.
Next to the camera tower. Like, we're talking before we went on air. Would he be allowed to play that? Like, could he get a boat over and try to chip it on the green from there? What's his option?
It's a great angle.
But ended up leading to triple. But even he had to laugh at that one. That was it's the stadium course. This is where the lights are on, and you just totally cold shank one.
He's pretty happy it's only 20% capacity or 25 or whatever it is.
Yeah, no kidding. But so anyways, that just kind of shows you the extremes. pro golfer who's known for his ball striking can reach. He goes, I guess he averages like half a stroke over par on these 2 holes, but you have a triple bogey and a 1. So
Yeah.
who knows? How do you predict these
Well,
things?
someone said in our Discord today that golf is hard, and I feel like that was exemplified at multiple points during the day.
Yeah.
I think so. My favorite thing about that shank was how much they like used like all of the tech available to like here's the shot tracker, here's the other, you know, like yeah, he's probably super happy you're showing this for the 3rd time.
So speaking of shanks, let's get to the second part of the segment here. This is the face plant part.
Okay.
So this is the final group on hole number 4 today. So let's just paint a little picture here. It starts off with Bryson. Really, like, we're talking about Molinari's top at Pebble Beach this year. He just shanked it. He topped it right into the water,
Which
like
is
96
not, that part of the
yards
hazard
off
is
the
not
tee.
in play.
He ended up, no, it's not, like, maybe it's in play for, like, people like us
Yeah.
who shank the odd ball, but, like, not these guys. So he ends up dropping it on the most up forward tee box, and then, like, just hitting it cold right, like so far right that he ended up having to play backwards. And shockingly, it only led to a double bogey because he just seemed to be hitting it.
He had a good up and down after he chipped out from that spot.
An unbelievable up and down. Meanwhile, Lee Westwood hits it like just a banana ball that I expect to see from Adam off the tee when he finally does play his woods. And then he ended up managing to bogey it as well. But I mean, that was the hole where you're like, okay, these guys don't seem to have complete control
Well, and
of
it
what's
almost
going
felt
on
like
right
it
now.
might turn into match play. And then all of a sudden, at that point, it was just like, this is wide open.
Yeah, totally wide open. I called Adam. I was like, "Are you watching this right now? Like, this is like a meltdown by both these guys." I mean, I feel bad for Lee Westwood. He had to follow Bryson's shank. It's like, how do you follow that? At least he made square contact, I guess.
And you know what? At first, I thought that Westwood, it was a pretty iffy drop, but I did.
I kind of thought so too.
When I looked back at it, it looked like it was pretty legit. It had to have crossed somewhere along there.
It was banana balling pretty good. So
yeah, exactly, and it's like it definitely got over because like. When I was first watching it, I was like, man, that might have just crossed like back where Bryson's did, you know?
Yeah.
But it at some point along there. So like whether he was 20 yards up, you know, you don't know that. But
I think that got pointed out on golf Twitter on a couple of holes today. And it's tough. Like, I mean, how do you tell exactly where these things go across hazard? And you don't necessarily see as the guy hitting it where it's crossing. You're relying on other people to tell you, right?
Yeah.
I would think.
You need Joel Damon out there to tell you where it crossed.
Anyways, yeah, let's move on.
That's great though. I mean it's crazy. Like it's absolutely bananas that happens.
It's also crazy.
And
those were all within like 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
in one of the biggest events of the year. Like that's what makes golf so great. Like it's so alone. It's just you standing over this ball and you have to get this tiny ball into this tiny hole, like way down there.
Yeah.
And everyone is watching you. Like, yeah, hitting free throws is hard in the clutch, but have you tried getting this tiny ball and then trying to make par? Oh, it's fun.
One of my, I think Rich Beam talked about it because he won the PGA Championship, and he says on the fairway on 18, he had a 7-iron in his hand. He's like, it was possible that I was gonna miss it, like completely miss it. He's like, I couldn't even feel my hands.
Oh man, I can't even comprehend what it'd be like to be in that situation.
No, me neither.
Good face segment. Okay, DFS picks. Let's move on to our betting DFS pick segment. This is our pick sheet that's posted on Twitter every Tuesday or Wednesday leading up to the tournament. It's kind of a bloodbath this week, guys. I feel like we had a really good Arnold Palmer Invitational. This week, not so much. Winner, Patrick Cantlay, for me, miscut. Craig,
yeah, we don't. I feel like we don't. We're already an hour and a half in. We don't need to go through every pick here. Let's speed her up. The highlight to me is the fades. Me and Adam both faded Bryson.
Boom.
Kevin
P3.
faded JT, so
Win.
me and Adam, I think, take the win on that one. Answer's the best sleeper at tied for 22nd. Connors, me and Kevin had as top Canadian, and then the one and done. I think all of us are disappointed. Me and Kevin both picked Morikawa. Adam had Cantlay, who missed the cut. Best part about that, Adam, do you wanna give us the one and done update?
Yeah. So after going from worst to first, not there anymore. Kevin, 3.1 million in third. I, myself, Adam, 3.2 million, 3.24. I'm in second. Craig reclaims top spot, 3.25. He's top spot.
Morikawa's
50,000.
50,000.
I can't believe how tight it is, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is the real FedEx Cup. Race to Dubai.
This is the real race.
Yeah. But the race to Dubai, we have our European Tour Fantasy League going on. Gareth Rees got the win. May the course be with you as his team. He had Rozner as the captain. Great call there. I do want to point out, we have a team in there, if you haven't seen, it's Grandstand Grandma. It is our mom. And she picked, so we have our European Tour pick show where Craig and I usually pick a couple picks, a couple sleepers. This week, it was a busy week, so we only picked one pick, one sleeper. You went with Craig's pick and not my pick. I don't know what happened there.
Grandstand Grandma.
Grandstand Grandma. I know she's watching our content. I don't know if I wasn't as convincing enough. Craig's pick missed the cut.
Hang on a second. Was there any other reasons that Craig was sad this week? Because that would be enough that Mom would have picked his guy.
I picked George with you, Craig.
Hey, Adam, where are you ranked in the European Tour League?
I have no idea. Am I last?
I don't know, but I'm in second, so it's probably
Are
just...
you?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where's
Mr.
Mom?
Euro himself.
Mom is in... She's ahead of Adam. She's in 8th. Adam's in 16th.
Man, she's come on, she wins our fantasy football league like 3
Oh
of the
no,
last
she's a
4
ringer.
years.
Like I'm not saying her beating you is like something. I'm saying I hope I can hold her off.
She did divulge that she knew very few of the names that she had to pick from this week.
Yeah, fair. Okay, good bets, bad bets, red bets, green bets. Let's talk about kind of how our DFS betting week shook out. Who wants to go first, Kev?
I'll go first.
Kev, you want to go first?
Yeah, I want to go first. So this was, for me, a bad week. The excitement got the better of me. I was, it was like a major with how many prop bets and how many bets were out there, and I felt like I bet them all. And they did not go well. For the most part, they went very poorly. The only good bet I made was I bet on JT this morning before he started.
Okay.
So
what was that?
Pardon me?
What was that at?
5 to 1.
That's good. That's not bad.
That was, it kind of saved me a little bit, but ultimately it was still a red week for
It was
me.
more of a loss limiter than anything else.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, Craig, what do you got?
Well, to me, my sort of my sad one, whether you want to call it a red bet or, I mean, it wasn't a red, but I hit the 6 of 6 ticket in DFS tournament long that, like I said, it was in the single digits on Saturday, and unfortunately it was JT who ended up taking it. He did what he had to do. Rom did not do what he had to do today. Kirk did not do what he had to do today. Gim just went the wrong way.
Yeah.
So a lot of potential. There were so few 6 of 6s out there, and yeah, ultimately, what saved me this week was I dipped my toe into the snake draft waters for the first time.
DFS snake draft.
Did 12 player snake drafts. I did 5 of them because I wanted to, you get randomly assigned picks, and so I wanted to try to, get a few different spots to pick from. I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
oh wow.
Top 3 cash. So I did enough there to earn a little bit of profit, but it covered a little bit of my showdowns were bad for me this week. It was a bad showdown week. So recouped a few of my losses there. Still a negative week overall, but it would have been a good week if that one lineup had performed for me.
So I'll go into mine here. I'll talk about our showdown first because our round 3 showdown, I want to say, beat the field, Craig. Our showdown video beat the field by about like 2.5 strokes. Like, we killed it. we have our showdown picks every night. We have our round 4 picks, and we get a comment halfway through Sunday round 4, and this is the comment on our round 4 picks. You dudes suck. Your analysis is the worst. So like, okay, fair. We suck personally, and then our analysis is the worst. And then he goes back, you guys blow. Like, you dudes suck wasn't enough. He had to go with his third sentence, says, you guys also blow. So yeah, our round 4 showdown picks didn't do terribly well.
Well, really, what he was, all good stories, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so he wanted to open it up with we suck, and then really just get that our analysis is bad, is the worst, and then just close it off with the fact that we blow.
They all have exclamation marks as well.
Yeah.
Archie comic style.
If everything has an exclamation mark, does anything have an exclamation mark though?
Very true. Very true. Okay, so my betting was a little bit all over the place. Ultimately, it was down week, but pick JT is my first pick on our PGA DFS pick show. So that went well. Got the winner. He saved a lot of my lineups, thank goodness. But one of my sleepers was Kevin Na, and Kevin Na found a lot of water on 16, and turns out he had a bad back, and he only got about 3 points for the entire week. Not great. That one hurt. That one hurt my back. That stung a little bit. And then finally, we talked about kind of mom on the European. We had a little, another pool, a family pool for the players. You kind of pick, you pick a couple of players from pool A, from pool B, from pool C. Turns out Craig and I are the worst, and we came worst to our uncles, our brother-in-law.
I was green somewhere. I won that one, didn't I?
You did win that one. But I would like to say that you won. I'm the only one who picked JT, and I came second last. So clearly the scoring is the problem.
It's a flawed system.
It's a flawed system.
Yeah.
Don't you set up the settings on that?
Oh yeah, I'm the commissioner and the admin. That's on me. Well, it's
you
been
suck.
a long. Yeah. My analysis blows. I also blow. Anything else to add before this is a long one, guys? Any final thoughts on the players?
No, it was a fun week.
Despite the losses.
Dude, just real quick. Doug Gim, I was pulling so hard for him today. Sucks to see him have a struggle. Hopefully, there's a lot of talk on Saturday, I feel like in his post round and everything that we're going to see a lot more of him. Hopefully he is one of these guys that does get back to the stage and has chances to compete in tournaments like this. He's such a likable guy.
You know what? I think it was probably good for him. He was playing with JT, right?
Yeah. He was.
I think it was probably good for him to be in that group.
Experience that. And I didn't get the impression that it was going to, that he wouldn't be able to bounce back from this. That it was going to be devastating for him. He's just been playing so solid lately. And I forget what hole it was on, but I did see them kind of smiling about something at one point, which was good to see. I know he's a pretty amiable guy. He's a high strokes gain attitude kind of guy.
Totally. So I think that overall this week is going to be a positive for him.
Yeah.
That's just a gut feeling.
Probably the fact that he made hundreds of thousands of dollars less than if he would have gone out there and shot par. That's going to stick with him a little bit, but hopefully he realizes he can hang.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. I think so.
Yeah.
Great final point. Thank you everybody for listening. It was a long one. We have the Honda Classic next week. We have a preview already up on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, Grandstand Golf. Follow us on Twitter at Grandstand Golf, of course. Please rate and review the podcast wherever you're listening to it. And we will catch you next week, same time, for the Honda Classic. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Take care, everybody.